Yo, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over the Polar Pro, all my thoughts and opinions on this keyboard, and if I think it's worth picking up over anything else. So let's just get started. Let's start with the differences between the Polar 65 and the Polar Pro. The main differences are the latency. From what they've told me directly is that it can compete on par with the Wooting when it comes to end-to-end latency. But since I don't have a way to actually properly validate this, it's just word of mouth. I'm not a factual reviewer. I'm more of an opinionated based reviewer. So it's more of just my opinions on this keyboard, but that's just going over that. It's supposed to be faster than the Polar 65, but I can't fully confirm that because I no longer have a Wooting. So let's get into the review. So starting with this keyboard, it's using their Fuji X dual rail switches. It has a nice semi-clacky sound to it. It's not super overbearing, and they have a medium heavy weight to it. They're not the heaviest switches I've ever tried compared to the KS37Bs found in the Boog 75, which are significantly heavier, or the same switches found in the Neo Tokyo Polar 65 that were significantly heavier. These feel like a lightened version of those switches, and I can much appreciate that coming as this keyboard has been my main keyboard for the last 2 weeks since the CK75 review. Arbiter did announce SOCD within all its Polar Pro boards, so I've had a lot of fun playing with SOCD in games like Valorant and CS before they had it banned. But the SOCD works as you would expect. You hold A, and if you want straight to the right, you would hold D. They call it Super Tap, so that's just another name for SOCD. But the issue with their implementation of SOCD is that you don't get control of what keys have SOCD. So like in the CK75 or the Wooting, you can choose which 2 keys you have SOCD enabled on and which one it's binded to. But with the Polar 75 Pro and the Polar 65 Pro, you can only use A and D. You can't choose any other movement key. So let's say you want an SOCD on your W and S. I don't think you can rebind it. They might have had a firmware update. I'll put on screen if that's correct. Going into the build quality of this keyboard, this is the same build quality as you would find in other Polar 65 models. It is an aluminum top frame. It is a plastic bottom case. It is a tray mount design with a silicone sheet under the PCB to give it a nice kind of thick feeling when you're typing on it, which really helps with that typing feel. With the Polar 75, you get a compact 75% keyboard with a knob on top. I did end up losing my page down key, so don't mind that that's missing. But other than that, this keyboard has a fairly bog standard compact 75 with an exploded function row. So going on to typing test, here's the typing test of the Polar 75 Pro compared to other mechanical keyboards. And finally, would I recommend this? So the Polar 75 is one of those keyboards where it's kind of easy to recommend at its $150 price point. But when you take into consideration that the Polar 65 is $130 consistently, including a bare bones kit, it's really hard to recommend the Polar Pro unless you're absolutely a latency nut. You need to have the fastest keyboard on the market, and you just cannot live without that. Like I stated, I can't really confirm the latency charts because I'm not the one with the testing requirements to make these latency charts. Off memory, it does feel as good as my Wooting, but my Wooting is long gone as I sold it when I got the CK75 because that keyboard felt so much better than the Wooting. It felt silly to have one laying around. But yeah, this keyboard is an easy recommend if you're looking for the Polar 75. If you want a Polar 65 Pro, I don't really recommend getting the 65 Pro because it doesn't make sense to me. I'd rather go for the Polar 65 Standard and then wait for the SOCD update for the Standard unless you absolutely need SOCD, even though it is currently getting banned in select games. Well, hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. This is just a really quick review over the Polar 75 Pro and all my thoughts and opinions. Like I stated at the beginning, this is an opinionated review, not a factual or informative one. This is just my raw thoughts on this keyboard and what I think about it as a keyboard itself. Leave a comment what your thoughts on a Polar Pro is if you have one already, and if not, what is your go-to keyboard at the moment? Leave a like if you like the video, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
You say you want it, oh baby girl, you say you want it. Baby, come get it, oh baby, yeah, you gotta get it. Hey baby girl, drop all these products. Look at everyone who's trying harder. I don't know if I should try harder, cause you're the only one I want.